Hey everybody, it's Friendo here, and this is a reply to a comment that was left on one of my older videos. And just to be clear, this is not ponage or anything like that. This user has been perfectly polite and perfectly intelligent in the comment exchange. It's just the last comment that we had. I don't really feel like I could respond to it with a comment, but only in this format. So here we go. User Naujphantom says that in regards to ethical properties, they may be significant, but the property of being significant would be an illusion. If the object is an illusion, its properties must be illusory as well. And I'm afraid I disagree. I fundamentally and categorically disagree with that assessment. Now, I'm not sure you're using the word illusion the way I would use the word illusion. This seems like a Platonic idea that you say there are higher ideals, I guess what we call supernatural entities. And so as a believer, you ascribe to these things being real. And, if you will, the supernatural is more real than the natural. And certainly between the two, I mean, I don't believe in the supernatural at all, but within the concept of nature, there's certainly what you would call higher orders, ascending and descending. But in terms of ethical imperatives, I don't think that that has anything to do with the natural order. How we behave is purely a product of choice. It's not reflective of the universe as a whole. But similarly, what we think, while it may have natural analog, has nothing to do with nature. Our thoughts, our feelings form conceptual frameworks. Now, if we begin from an analysis of the word illusion, the idea here is that there's categories of things, and if something fits into the category of illusion, then all of its properties are illusory. But it's not true. We can talk about different kinds of illusions, and the properties of the illusion will depend on what category you place it in. So a material illusion would have material properties. If you think here about optical illusions, such as a mirage or a rainbow, the properties of this illusion are color, form, just like any real thing that you see. And that's the point, is that an optical illusion cannot by itself be distinguished from the act of viewing any other material object. So an optical illusion has material properties, even though it isn't matter. But it's still in being a perceptual phenomena based upon the action of our eyes is indistinguishable to us, and that's what makes it an illusion. In terms of ethical imperatives, any kind of illusory concept would still have the properties of an ethical system. So if we take, for example, the concept of justice, we can argue for its relevance. We can argue for the good of this concept because we can say it makes people act in a social, pro-social manner. It makes people act for the good, and it causes people to redress grievances. But justice also leads to revenge. When people are hurt, when they're suffering, their pursuit for justice can lead them to inflict greater harm than was inflicted on them in the first place. But we can get the same benefits that we get from the concept of justice out of just the concepts of, say, fairness and equality. making the concept of justice dubious in an ethical sense. But we resolve this conflict by looking at what actions this concept drives people to do. I think that would be the same thing in judging a religion, or judging the concepts instilled by any kind of philosophical worldview, any kind of ideological worldview. You can judge the concept, whether it is good or bad, whether it has a net benefit or a net loss to human happiness, based on how it affects people, how it alters their psychology. Whether it's true or not in an ultimate sense, I don't find to be very relevant. Because the properties of concepts are to influence human thought and thereby affect human action. Human action isn't illusory, but human action is also completely relative. It's not ultimate. We can't say, for example, that eating is good or bad. Eating is something objective, and as so has no ethical significance in and of itself. What are you eating? Where did what you're eating come from? How is it processed? These lead to ethical questions that you can embrace or dismiss. For some people, eating local is an ethical concern. For some people, eating vegetarian or eating vegan is an ethical concern. You can say that these concerns don't matter, but you can't say that they're not ethical concerns. So I don't think it gets you anywhere if you start from the concept, if you start from an epistemology of saying that something that is an illusion has illusionary characteristics. I don't think that actually gets us anywhere. Because everything that we understand, the property of understanding, will come from thinking or from feeling. And those occur analogous to the natural world. That is, they are electrochemical in nature. They occur in our brains, related to our bodies. But then they are completely unnatural. They occur in the world of our perceptions, not in the world around us. They are interior, not exterior. Thoughts do not emanate from a source outside of us. So our thoughts can be right or wrong while still being our thoughts. And it's not the property of rightness or wrongness that makes us think things. We have our thoughts, we have our feelings. Then we have to determine critically whether they are right or wrong. We have to apply methods to our perceptions in order to determine rightness or wrongness. We can't start from a categorical standpoint and say, here's right thought and here's wrong thought. So that's my reply. Let me know if you have more thoughts on that. I'd be interested in continuing the conversation.